Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Have a good Tuesday morning to you, and welcome to the show. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly Hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. We do the show from the Jarrett Construction Studios, right on time, right on budget. Visit jarrett-construction.com. Phone calls to the show is service of Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, Spring Street, Charleston. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Taylor, Virginia Street, Charleston. Tony's summer hours, Mondays 11 to 3, Tuesday through Friday 10 to 5:30, Saturdays by appointment only. Check out bestmastertaylor.com or Tony's Facebook page if you need more information. Coming up on the show today, Delegate Ferrell is going to join us, Republican, a member of the House of Delegates. And he was scheduled to be here last week, feeling a little bit under the weather. And as I said, with all due respect to my buddy Dana, when I texted him the night before, which I think we had him scheduled for Tuesday, and I texted him the night before and I said something like, "You ready to go for tomorrow?" Whatever. And he responded with something that sounded a little bit like Bonnie Tyler doing Total Eclipse of the Heart. And I said, okay, maybe this isn't such a good idea to have you in. So I talked to him last night. He's got several things on his mind and he is actually feeling better. So, he is going to join us in the studio, coming up a little bit later on. Plus, I got several things in the news I want to get to as well. But as always, your calls and texts are welcome. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly Hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. And as we do from time to time, I'd like to welcome in some of the sponsors of our show to just tell us what's going on with them. One of those, you hear me talking about them every morning. The folks with FreshAir Filters. John Lovejoy is with FreshAir Filters, and he joins us now. How you doing, man?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
I am doing fine. You've been coming on the show. You know, you're one of the Meeks family of businesses, and you kind of rotate, you guys. I have you and Rich the Realtor on, and folks from Meeks as well. But for those who may have not heard you on the air before, explain exactly what FreshAir is and what it does.
We are an air filter changing service. We come out and build custom filter frames for your HVAC filter that are healthier for your HVAC unit. Put in a filter that's better quality filter inside that frame, and then that gives you healthier air on the inside as well. And then we come out on a regular basis and change that for you, so you never have to remember when it's time to change your air filter, because we know it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things.
So you put this on some kind of a rotation, some sort of a system that just says, hey, we need to go see this family today, right?
We do. We come out and on our initial assessment, I'll meet with potential clients and kind of go over, I call them my lifestyle questions, to find out how things operate there, whether it be at their business, which is our primary focus, or we do have some residential clients as well, and then that helps me determine how frequently those filters need to be changed.
So you can't really set, okay, your filters need to be changed every 6 months, every 8 months, every 3 months, whatever. You don't really have a set time. It just depends on the individual unit, I guess, right?
Well, a filter, first of all, should never go beyond 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there are different factors that play into ones that need to be changed more frequently. Probably the most common one would be pets.
Okay.
Because pet dander is a huge clogger of an air filter. Mm-hmm. So if you have a pet in your home, or at your business, because some people are fortunate enough to take their pet to work with them, then that all of a sudden bumps it from every 3 months to every 2.
Okay, talking again with John Lovejoy, FreshAir. All right, so I'm going to ask you a really, really dumb question, because that's what I do. Nobody does dumb questions like I do. All right, so we'll talk residential. I can go to my local hardware store. I can go to my big box store, and I can order online from Amazon or whatever filters. and just make myself a note, change them every 3 months. Why can't I? Why can I not just do that? Or why do you suggest people have it done professionally?
Well, the main thing is the custom frame. Okay, it's a tighter fit. It's a heavier frame than what you're buying at the local box stores. It's not one of those cardboard frames. This one's made of metal, so it's heavier, which means when your HVAC unit kicks on and off, that custom frame doesn't move. And if there's no movement in the frame, stuff's not getting around it and into your HVAC unit. Mm-hmm. So those custom frames and having a filter service do the work for you is protecting that HVAC investment that you have, allowing it to work at its peak and to also protect that investment. Yeah.
Some companies, some people, I should say, maybe having a maintenance agreement on their heating and cooling company with a local company. And again, they advertise with us too. We're all about everybody getting along. Yeah. But if I have a maintenance agreement where they come out and they service my heating and cooling unit, why would I still need you guys?
Well, your preventative maintenance plans, typically those through your HVAC companies, which we love HVAC companies. We're not an HVAC company, but we partner with HVAC companies. But those preventative maintenance plans come out twice a year. Typically, it's that switch over from winter to spring and that switch over from summer to fall. Okay, that's every 6 months. Mm. Again, that filter really needs changed at least every 3 months. So you're looking that in-between time. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we like to partner with them, let them, we find it's cheaper for them to actually contact us and do filter changes for their customers.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know you guys did that.
We do. Okay. Because it's cheaper for them to pay us to do it than it is for you as a customer to have to pay a service call. Okay. So they can offer the service to their clients and outsource that, so to speak, to us, and we handle the filter changes for them.
And I think it's very important that John, that you point that out, that you guys are not in competition with some of the HVAC companies or anything like that. You actually work with them.
Exactly. We are not whatsoever. Now, my technicians, when they go out, they're there to change filters. That's all we do. We are strictly filters. We don't do installs. We don't do repairs. But my technicians have a strong HVAC industry background. Mm-hmm. So if they're out there and they see a potential issue, they will make the customer aware of that.
Yeah, go up and say, hey, you need to contact your folks. You got an issue here.
Exactly. And so that way it kind of keeps a major problem from happening, before that HVAC company is contacted.
Talking to John Lovejoy of FreshAir. It's 9:15. Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you part by Bridge Valley, offering custom tailored trainings to supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu. All right, let's talk about what you do for businesses. And you've told us stories about some of because let's face it, it's got some difficult businesses to work on, older buildings and so on and so forth here in the Kanawha Valley. So talk about the services that you offer for businesses. And if somebody's listening right now and they're a business owner and they're thinking, well, this is something I don't want to have to mess with. What services do you offer for businesses, and how does it differ from residential?
The big difference when it comes to businesses is, you've got typically larger spaces, more units, and a lot of them are rooftop units. So my guys I jokingly say, any filter, any location.
You don't care to send them up there, do you?
I don't know whatsoever, and I believe it,
because you're going to be sitting in the car going right there. You need to go on the 20th floor. Go right there.
Believe it or not, I've actually been in some of these rooftops downtown Charleston. Okay. One in particular had to go to the 3rd floor, climb through a window, out onto a balcony, up the ladder on the outside of the building to the top floor, to the top of the building, and that was quite interesting. Yeah. But my guys will do that. So a lot of businesses think, I've got a maintenance team. My maintenance guys will do that. The nice thing is we like to kind of refer to ourselves as an extension. We're not there to replace your maintenance team. we're there as an extension to them.
Just basically like you do for residential. It's basically the same concept.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. It truly is. Just coming out and making sure that those are changed on a regular basis so that it allows your HVAC unit to work the way it was designed to work, which lowers energy consumption. Lower energy consumption means lower bills.
So somebody's listening right now, and they're thinking about their residence or they're thinking about their business, and they call you. We'll get you the contact information. They call you guys up. You come out and do a consultation, I guess?
Yes, we do.
And you'll sit down with them and explain, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what you have, and that sort of thing, right?
Exactly, yeah. We like to go out and meet with them on site just to see exactly what we're looking at, how many units they have, potentially how many filters there are involved. And then that will allow us to, go back and crunch some numbers and, get that quote to them.
And you mentioned saving money on the bills. That's where people are listening right now, and they're thinking, well, I don't know if I want to do this. I'll just take care of myself. But as soon as you say saving money on energy bills, because we all know what they're doing. My wife and I were just talking about how much our energy bill went up this past month. Yeah. You're saying it's going to save you money.
It will. Yes, it's because regular filter changes are the number one way of making sure that HVAC unit's not overworking. The dirtier that filter gets, the harder that HVAC unit's working to get air through that filter. So by keeping that clean and changed on a regular basis, it provides the high efficiency and, the phrase high efficiency heat pump.
Mm-hmm. All right. Where can people learn more? What's the best way to reach you? Website, social media, phone numbers?
Yeah.
What do you got?
We are on Facebook, and also on LinkedIn, FreshAir Filter Services. Our website is freshairfilters.us. It is not a .com, it's a .us.
You got to be different, man.
Yes, we do. And then our phone number is 304-440-1104.
All right. John, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Something so simple that you think is, that you don't out of sight, out of mind, or out of mind, out of sight, or whatever the phrase is. Something that's so simple can really save people money.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll talk again soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
John Lovejoy of FreshAir. That's one word, by the way. Fresh with a big F and a capital F and a capital A.
That's exactly right.
It's one word. All right. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live brought to you in part by Huston's Pizza. This month, buy any regularly priced large 18-inch pizza and get a free 2-liter of Pepsi. Find your nearest Huston's at HustonsPizza.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. Ryan Nicholson, the senior producer in charge of things today. We'll take a break. Delegate Dana Ferrell is coming up next. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses care for your family.
New at IHOP, cookie butter pancakes filled with cookie crumbles and topped with Biscoff cookie butter, now for a limited time only. Or get your choice of 2 of the same flavored pancakes served with 2 eggs your way, 2 custom cured hickory smoked bacon strips, or 2 smoked sausage links and golden hash browns for just $11.49. Join IHOP's rewards program for exclusive offers and rewards that stack up the more you visit IHOP. Plus free pancakes on your birthday. Where the shortest distance between 2 people is a smile, IHOP.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-488-2594. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-488-2594. That's 800-488-2594. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Welcome back to the show. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. Birds actually doing a doubleheader. And gates open at 4 o'clock for the first game. They're at home to begin the series against the Blue Crabs of Southern Maryland. Now, of course, for the second game, $2 Tuesday, $2 tickets, $2 popcorn, hot dogs, and sodas up till 8 o'clock. Tickets, promotions, Dirty Birds gear schedules, and more. Visit dirtybirdsbaseball.com. But don't forget this Saturday night, it's 80s night over at Go-Mart Ballpark, sponsored in part by our sister station 98.7 The Mountain, Wild and Wonderful Classic Rock. You want to make sure you come out for that, because not only are you going to have all the normal Saturday night stuff that they do at the ballpark, including Mega Blast fireworks after the game, but it's 80s nights. Put on your best 80s gear and come out there. Our man Shockley, he of all the hair, will be out there throwing out the first pitch on Saturday night. He's been warming up. I understand he has been going back, and he's a big sports guy, so he's been going back and watching some of the greats. And I picture him, if you remember, here's an obscure reference. I picture, I should say, him being like the Mad Hungarian, Al Roboski, if you remember him. That's what you can expect when Shockley throws out the first pitch on 80s night over at the ballpark this Saturday night. It's 9:23, Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Want to welcome to the show my good buddy Delegate Dana Ferrell. How you doing, man?
I'm doing much better than last week. Yeah, great to be here.
You sound a little rough last week. I made that call or text you, as I normally do when I have somebody scheduled. I'll text them the night before and just say, hey, you still good for tomorrow, whatever. And you called me immediately, and you were sounding pretty rough. Just like an allergy type thing, or what?
I'm not sure what it was, but I hit some antibiotics not too long after that, and I was able to get through it. But, in July, when you get sick in July like that, it's no fun at all.
Yeah, especially you, because you're a big outdoors guy. You're always traveling somewhere and doing something with RVs, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Yeah. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't mention this, because I know you're a diehard Chicago Cubs fan, the death of Ryan Sandberg. And you were telling me a story on the air that you actually had communication with Ryan Sandberg. He died of pancreatic cancer. It was announced late last night. Talk about your relationship with Ryan Sandberg.
Well, obviously, my relationship started as a huge fan there in the 1980s when WGN was being cabled in here, piped in. And I started watching the games, and he came over in a trade from the Phillies as his rookie there, and I became a big fan of the Cubs in general. But Sandberg was the guy. I mean, he was a class act on and off the field. He had the same demeanor, it seemed like, no matter if he hit the home run to win the game or to put him ahead, or if he struck out, went back to the dugout. Yeah. Calm, cool, collect, never argued a call. He's the type of role model I think, I would want my kids to emulate, after any athlete, always a class act on and off the field. And, so I followed his career, and right after my wife and I got married, for my first birthday, she bought me the book, Second to Home. It was basically a biography of him at that time. That was in the 90s. And, reading through some of his personal life, he was dealing with some things that I had dealt with. And so you could really relate to the guy off the field as well. And he had some challenges. It was, life wasn't easy for him. Some things that sometimes seem unfair. But obviously you wouldn't know that, when you're watching play ball on the field. And, so you've seen the evolution of it go through. And then last year, went through a situation. I had a couple of friends. I had a good friend here in the Valley that had, been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And he told me, he said, Dana, you need to go get your PSA check. Get that PSA check. It's on me and on me. And so I did that, and it came back, and it was elevated quite a bit. And so there was that scare for a moment, that there could be something there. And so I reached out just by chance on social media and to Ryan Sandberg, because he was going through this at the time. He had been diagnosed. He went through treatment and then went into remission this time last year. He would have said, he's in complete remission. And then it was about the same time, that was about November, December, that he announced that it had come back and had spread into other parts of the body and things. At that point, when I was able to talk to him and communicate, never got to talk to him one-on-one.
Right, yeah, but still, I mean, fans of any celebrity, whether it's a ball player or singer or actor, whatever, they reach out to people on social media all the time. But the real Ryan Sandberg, Rhino, as he was known, actually, you guys had a communication back and forth. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was pretty neat for him, and knowing everything that was going on in his life and things, to take that time to just basically say, hey.
To talk to a fan. Okay. I mean, he's a big time baseball player. I'm sorry, with all due respect. He's not intimidated by Delegate Dana Ferrell. You know, you probably didn't know that, knowing you probably didn't even tell him that you were in the legislature. You just told him you're a fan.
So I'm not sure he's been in West Virginia. I don't know how much of that, but I know, he knew I was a big fan. And that's the kind of guy he is, when you go back and watch some of the videos, I watched some of the interviews that he had on some shows just like yours. He would come on these kinds of shows and podcasts and speak about some of the things that he was passionate about and are very involved with his grandsons who are playing both Little League and travel baseball. And he was just talking about his emphasis on just enjoying the game and this idea that some of these parent coaches get out there and take it so seriously and are, demeaning kids and
usually failed athletes in their own right. That's usually what it is.
And he was like, no, this is not what it should be about. He goes, I want kids to come out and enjoy and love the game. And so you go back and watch some of those. Those are out there on YouTube. You can watch them, and it's just, you see what kind of guy he was.
Yeah.
So, it was a gut punch yesterday for me.
You sent me a text last night about it. And, of course, Papal here goes to bed really early, so I didn't get it until this morning. I got up. And out of respect for you, I didn't return it at 5 a.m. this morning when I got up, but I saw you'd sent me the text about him passing away. I actually shared it on my social media as well. Now I will say this, my wife is from Chicago, but the other end of town. And so they're all diehard White Sox fans. Which has not been very easy the last couple of years, to be honest with you. Thank goodness for the Colorado Rockies this year, or the White Sox would be the worst team in baseball. But there is that amount of respect, between the two.
The same as it would be for a Johnny Bench or a Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Those are guys you just say, hey, this it's not about who they play for.
Right, exactly.
They were baseball players.
I do want to mention this because you mentioned that, and I promise we're not going to keep talking about sports, but I would be remiss also if I didn't mention that yesterday was the 83rd birthday of Marty Brennaman, the longtime broadcaster for the Cincinnati Reds. The only thing I can say is I hope when I'm 83 years old that I look like Marty Brennaman and sound like Marty Brennaman. I catch interviews with him from time to time. He could still call a game. He could call a doubleheader. And the guy at 83 years old, and growing up, as a Reds fan in Southern West Virginia, the Reds were on just about every radio station. And some of my greatest memories were hanging out with my grandpa in his garage, and he had a big homemade stereo system set up where he had these giant speakers he'd hooked up to an old radio, and he would go out and tinker with things in the garage, and I would listen to the Reds games. And I'm talking about the Reds of Bench, Rose, Concepcion,
Big Red Machine,
Danny Dreesen. But I was also there for the late 80s Reds. Of course, they won the series in 90, and then they suffered after that. I've been a fan ever since. The only Reds official, and we do these Reds caravans every year, did them when I was at the radio station in Logan. The only person that ever came into town that I ever asked to have my picture made with was Marty Brennaman. And we brought in Eric Davis. We brought in Zach Cozart when he played there. We brought in the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, all these guys, and all due respect to them, Dusty Baker when he was the manager. The only person I ever wanted my picture made with was Marty Brennaman. And I still have a picture of me, my buddy Tommy, and with Marty Brennaman because he's one of the best. He celebrated birthday number 83. As I said, I want to look like that and sound like that when I'm 83 years old. I probably won't, though.
No, I think you're on your way there.
I'm on my way to 83. That's what I'm on my way to. All right. So, there's several things I think you want to talk about. And I'll just kind of give you the floor because you got several things. There's been some things in the news about funding here as of late. And some of the county officials a little bit bothered. I know on Talkline they got into it yesterday that there was some funding that was being held up potentially by the administration, by the governor's administration. What can you tell us about that? What's your take?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of people were when that came out, is well, what are they talking about? What is this LEADA fund and grant money that they're talking about? And so I certainly wanted to clarify that. And that, I wasn't even sure when I was running for office that this was something that would have access to, but become a very, very important part, I think, of any of the representatives, whether it be the Senate and or delegates, that we have access to these funds. And we're limited to a certain amount each year. For the legislators, it's $25,000 each per year, and that can roll over. If I don't use it all, if I only request and get $10,000 distributed out to different groups or projects in my district, then the other $15,000 would roll over into next year, and I would have $40,000 available at that point in time. So that's been the case as I've been up there, and I've been able to do a lot of great things, I think, personally, with that money for my district. And so I think it's a good thing. It's taxpayer money, but as they said, it's money that the state couldn't get involved in some of these smaller projects. It would be a micromanagement kind of thing. But by being a delegate or a senator, you're on the ground. You understand the projects. You understand the needs that are going on in your communities. And so this gives us an opportunity to be able to help out. Some of the things, obviously, I've been able to help out with a lot of sports teams. We're talking sports there in my community, to be able to, and it's always, and let me say this too, it's that money doesn't go for travel and for frivolous things. It has to go for tangible items, infrastructure, things like that. So I know right now we're working on, and I was able to join forces with both Senator Kubo and Senator then Eric Nelson, and we pulled our money together to help Sissonville High School finish their track facilities out there that not only would help Sissonville, but this past year they were able to hold regional track meets for schools and teams from all over the region be able to come in there. And it's outside of Lately Field, it's the only other campus track and field facility that's able to hold a complete track meet like that. Mm-hmm. So we were able to get the funds to be able to help make that happen and be a reality that's now serving thousands of fans and young people throughout not just Sissonville, but throughout the region. So these are things that these monies are there for, and it could be for nonprofits, these types of things that we're able to channel it through. So, we do this, and my understanding, I wasn't aware that this was going on until the news came down, but mm-hmm. I do know that the switchover of administrations has caused a pause in that money that was flowing, because I'd come in under the Justice Administration, and you requested the money. It went through the process. It goes to the finance chair, who screens it and makes sure it's legit what you're asking for, clarifies that. Then it goes to the speaker, who also checks that, and then finally on to the governor's office, who signs off on it. And then the check is issued not to me, but to the entity that we requested for. But that flow had stopped as a new governor coming into place. So we were told that, hey, they were just trying to get their ducks in a row and get a grip on this and get the process flowing in place. As of now, I have not had any checks come my way. I hope it's not because if it's a disagreement I might have with the administration, as was insinuated here. But if that's the case that happened there in Wood County, I hope they can get that worked out, because this is the people's money. It's going back to help constituents, and we don't need to be playing games back and forth either way. Have you had any conversations with the Morrissey administration? Because I know the Talkline boys had Delegate Heckert on the show yesterday. He's been quite vocal about this. Have you had any conversations with the Morrissey administration about this? Not recently, but it's probably been about a month or so ago. I asked about what the status was, and we were just told, hey, it's just in the process. Just be patient. We're getting this worked out. But I've not had anything since then. We were asked that anything that we put in at the end of the Justice Administration, going back to last fall, winter, those checks had never come through. So we were asked to resubmit those. So I did that last month, and still waiting. At this point. So there again, I'm not pointing a finger. Hopefully, this is just a law into things. But these projects, a lot of them are time sensitive. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have matching funds, and so we're trying to make that money go as far as possible in the community. So hopefully, this gets worked out. And it's just unfortunate that we are where we are. A lot of people ask me a lot of times, and we have a 91 member supermajority in the House, and about equally percentage in the Senate and things. But within that majority, obviously you have different factions of people with different ideals of the way they think the party should go.
Talking to Delegate Dana Ferrell, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. It's a great podcast promoting healthier lifestyles. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetronews.com, under the podcast menu. Speaking of which, this past Saturday, the Republicans gathered in Morgantown, chose a new party chair. Your compadre there, Delegate Josh Holstein out of Boone County. I know you've known Delegate Holstein for some time. It turned out to be a pretty close race at the top there between Wes Perry and Josh Holstein. Your thoughts on the new chair?
Josh is a great guy, and I think he's going to do a great job. We talk about wanting young people to be and stay in West Virginia and be a part of the process, and Josh epitomizes that. I mean,
23 years old.
23 years old. He's that guy, and he's done a great job representing Boone County in the House of Delegates, and I think he will do a great job representing the party. Very level-headed kind of guy. I think, thinks things through. We talked about the Sandberg, calm, cool, collect kind of guy.
Yeah.
Josh Holstein is that kind of guy.
So one of the things that didn't happen at the convention or the gathering this past weekend, it wasn't brought forward about Republicans made the decision to close the primary to independents. It was thought that that may be back on the table. Turned out that it wasn't. Didn't go through the it wasn't brought up. Do you have any thoughts on that? On the primaries being opened or closed to independents?
Well, I understand what the process was. The idea was that they wanted to do this. Obviously, is that they wanted to make sure that the Republican values and the platform that they were putting forth was what was more focused on the candidates that would represent that. I do have concerns, though, in the long run that could come back to bite, because we have so many independents in the state. I mean,
it's the fastest growing party in the state. Yeah. I mean, the fastest growing party is a non-party, basically.
And so, in some ways, we've disenfranchised them and said, well, we don't care about what you think over here and this point. And so are they more likely then when it comes to the general election to say, well, I've already, I was only allowed to participate on the Democrat side. And so, and then let's face it, an independent is going to be more moderate in nature. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't be an independent.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're probably, if they vote in either election, they're probably going to go for that more centrist, rather it be on the left or the right. So that may allow the Democrats to get that, go from the more extreme left to back to the center more, and then they follow that candidate into the general election. At this point in time, West Virginia is so far to the Republican Party that I'm not sure how soon it would happen. But I do think there's a chance that could creep back to be a problem.
Look, I mean, I had Delegate Andy Shamlin on the show yesterday. He's a teacher. You were a teacher. I mean, young people, and I can tell you when I used to go into schools and do voter registration drive when I worked for the Secretary of State's office, we were not allowed to tell them. They would say, well, should I register Republican? That we were nonpartisan. We were just like, well, that's totally up to you. You guys talk among yourselves. We'll help you. The majority of the young kids, and Delegate Shamlin, it's been a while since I did that, but based on what Delegate Shamlin told me yesterday, that's not changed. The majority of the young people are signing up as independents.
That's correct. And so I think a lot of people, they just look at, hey, I want to be, I think people in the state certainly lean to the right. They're, it's conservatives, value type of state. But at the same time, I think, most of the people in this state are also very, pragmatic and just look at things, and say, hey, this is nonpartisan issues. A lot of things that we look at are nonpartisan. And I think that's the way most people, want to be. But the election, I understand the purpose and when they're going there, but I'm not sure in the long run if this is the direction we want to stay here. I don't know. This is going to be, obviously that's why we have a party and we have a party chairman as we did and elect here, and hopefully they'll look through this and figure it out. I'm here. I'm Republican that represents the 60th district, I'll do the best job I can under this pretenses, and what they do at that level is going to be up to them.
All right. So final question for you. You going to run for re-election?
Yeah, I've already found my pre-candidacy and, look forward to it. I think one of the things you find out once you get up there is that seniority and time and experience does matter, on matters of how things and, how are running. And the longer you're there, the more opportunity you have to chair a certain committee and having the opportunity to chair those committees. We talked about the whole thing with the governor and Delegate Heckert having the differences in the pot. I'm not saying anybody did, but the possibility that money was held up over that. I've seen bills held up over differences of opinion out of committee and things. And so, I think you have to learn how to play that. And if I'm going to represent it, I'm there to represent the people of the 60th district at Sissonville, Big Tyler, and parts of Dunbar. That's my first priority. And then it's the people of the state of West Virginia and then to the Republican Party. And if I'm doing what's in the best interest of the people of my districts, I'm going to try to do everything I can to be in the best position to be able to influence the policies and the laws that that best affect, and or if it's funding or whatever, to get back to my community. That's what I'm there for, and ultimately to help the state of West Virginia.
All right. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, sir. We'll have you on one time just to talk about sports. How's that? Oh,
I'll tell you. And you talked to, I heard lead in. It's what a great week here in Charleston.
Yeah.
We had the TBT, last night, and then West Virginia advancing one of the semifinals. You got the ballpark over here. Can't be fun at the old ballpark with the Dirty Birds. Marshall University announcing a new athletic director yesterday.
Press conference is scheduled, I think, for tomorrow. But the news is out. They got a new AD, and plus Rich Rod's back in Morgantown. Tony Gibson's at the head of Marshall. New AD, as you said, at Marshall. It's a great time to be a sports fan in West Virginia.
High school football is getting ready to hit the ground running. And what a great time if you're a sports fan to be here in West Virginia, particularly in the Kanawha Valley.
All right, Delegate Dana Ferrell, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Republican from the 60th District. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, thank you.
It's 18 minutes away from 10. We'll take a break. Come back right after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses have been creating jobs in West Virginia since 1997.
All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Office 222 Capitol Street, Charleston. Cases will be handled by West Virginia licensed attorneys. The attorney in this ad is not licensed in West Virginia. ForThePeople.com.
Adventure awaits on two wheels. Trojan Landing Marine and Power Sports in Charleston is your Royal Enfield headquarters. From the classic Hunter to the rugged Himalayan, these bikes are built for the bold. Whether you're chasing open roads or carving your own path, Royal Enfield delivers timeless style and true adventure. Come test ride yours today and feel the freedom. Trojan Landing Marine and Power Sports, where adventure begins. Visit TrojanLanding.com and ride into something epic.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The latest in news, talk, and sports when 580 WCHS is brought to you by Jarrett Construction. Call 304-344-9140 for more information.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
Stay ahead of the political curve with Meet the Press, the legendary political talk show that has been a mainstay of American television for over 70 years. He is also on the radio. Get unique insights into the complex world of politics with thoughtful analysis and in-depth interviews that never fail to deliver. Don't miss a single episode of Meet the Press, Sundays at noon on 580 WCHS.
Welcome back to the show, 15 minutes away from 10 o'clock. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Pinnacle offers a 4-phase assessment for your property's inspection, sampling, and analysis. Comprehensive reporting, management planning. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony V. Taylor text 304-935-500. I do want to remind you again, we're in the final days of this contest that we're doing with the folks over at Trojan Landing. All of our stations taking part in this: V100, KWS, KEZ, ESPN Radio, The Mountain, The Beat, and of course us here at WCHS. We're teaming up with Trojan Landing Marine and Power Sports for the Ride and Riches game, with your chance to win a 2025 Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 and $1,000 in cash. Listen daily to our stations. For more information, go to the station websites, or you can go to one of several business businesses that you can register. Those would include Andrews Boots and Workwear, Members Choice Federal Credit Union, the Red Carpet Lounge, Running Boards, and more. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, Charleston's Cut Flowers, and more. That's just a few of the businesses. Now, keep listening to your favorite stations there, and they'll tell you exactly all of the businesses. And then what's going to happen is you got all this week, and I think until like Monday, to go into one of those businesses that I mentioned and to register. And then next week, they'll start calling folks and saying, hey, you're a finalist. We need you to join us on Saturday, August the 9th, 1 week from this Saturday at Trojan Landing at around 10 o'clock. And we're also going to have a lot of other cool prizes there as well. Giveaways every so often. We'll be pumping out the music. It's going to be a big party there at Trojan Landing. But again, one person only is going to win the 2025 Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 and $1,000 in cash courtesy of Trojan Landing. So get into one of those businesses I mentioned. They're all available on the website because there's a bunch more other than just what I mentioned, and get yourself registered. We'll see you 1 week from this Saturday at Trojan Landing. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, hire Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I got some text here. The text says, people have been dead wrong about independence. Most independents I know have been independents all our lives and are proud of it. If they don't want our help, this is the Republicans, I think, I'm presuming that they're talking about. They will force us to pick a sides, and me and my friends won't be choosing the side that rejects our support. That is a lot of the concern. And we've had people talk about that I think it's a mistake. Nobody asked me. I'm a registered independent, okay? I've been a registered Democrat. I've been a registered Republican. These days, I'm a registered independent. But I'll tell you, I think they're making a mistake. But, they didn't axe for my opinion. By the way, when I say axe, I am just kidding about that because somebody commented about people saying axe. That's just kind of me being Dave. Text says, about yesterday's show, I feel badly for Delegate Shamblin that he has to keep coming on saying the road work in Cross Lanes will restart any day now and still doesn't happen. It's coming. Andy tells me it's coming, but they have had some delays. It's not been canceled, though. That's the thing that when Delegate Shamblin comes on the show, that he wants to reiterate to people that it's not been postponed. Funding didn't run out. They just had some delays, so hopefully they'll get it up and going. Coming up on the show tomorrow, we've heard a lot about the issues with the Dunbar Police Department. Very, very well documented. John Garton is the new chief of police of Dunbar. We actually had him on Metro News Midday last week, and he's basically tasked with trying to clean up the mess. There have been some good officers in Dunbar, some not so good. Well, he needs more officers. He's on a big hiring spree right now, and we're going to give Chief Garton an opportunity to talk about that on the show tomorrow. Again, the issues with the Dunbar Police Department, the settlements they had to pay out, so on and so forth, that's been well documented, all right? But now John Garton is in there. And he is trying to clean it up. So he's going to join us on the show tomorrow. And they need to hire. They desperately need to hire some new officers. So we'll talk to Chief Garton about that on the show. Coming up later today, Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law, 13 News, and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me at noon today. Charlotte Lane of the Public Service Commission will join us today. There is expected to be an announcement later today which could have major repercussions for the West Virginia economy. Now, the Trump administration is planning to release a proposal today that would overturn a 16-year-old scientific findings that has allowed 3 different presidential administrations to regulate climate restrictions. Basically, what's going to come out in this is greenhouse gases are not harmful, and this will restrict the government's authority to cut back on carbon emissions from the energy and auto industries. It's also going to roll back certain climate rules for cars and trucks. And I can tell you that people in the coal mining industry are celebrating this. I know the boys of Talkline were efforting to get Chris Hamilton from the Coal Association on their show today. We'll talk to TJ in a bit to see how they did. Okay, I'm getting the thumbs up. Anytime TJ puts a finger up, I want to make sure it's the thumb. But TJ would never do that. He's not as rude, crude, crass, and offensive as I am. But he gives me the thumbs up from the other side of the glass that Chris Hamilton from the Coal Association will be on the show today. Now, on Metro News Midday, we're going to talk about it with Brad McElhaney and Senator Rupi Phillips, the coal senator, as he calls himself. Also, some news out of NIOSH to get to today. Daniel Woods will join us to talk about that West Virginia win in the TBT last night. And, of course, Open Line West Virginia. Metro News Midday with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me, brought to you by Salango Law, coming up at noon today. Vaccines are your best protection against severe disease from flu and COVID-19. If you're 65 or older, risk less, do more with the season's vaccines. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Bigley, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. We'll take a break. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
My name's Chris Miller. I'm president of Dutch Miller Automotive. Jarrett Construction completely renovated and helped redesign Dutch Miller Kia in South Charleston. The fit and the finish and the quality of the project is exceptional. He has an attention to detail and an eye for that kind of stuff. You always want to give your best to your customer. It's just as important to him as it is to you. If you're ever looking to build anything, I'd call Jarrett Construction because you know exactly you're going to get something excellent every single time.
Call on Jarrett Construction.
You've worked hard. You've saved. Now it's time to make your money work for you without second-guessing every decision. I'm John Burdett with 4th Avenue Financial, and I help people retire with confidence and clarity. We'll create a personalized plan that fits your lifestyle, your goals, and your legacy. Retirement should feel like freedom, not fear. Visit 4thavenuefinancial.com. Let's get started today. 4th Avenue Financial, retirement done right.
Securities offered through Jenny McCole Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Jenny McCole Advisors Incorporated.
Summer savings are happening right now at Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Hurricane, and you can't afford to miss this. Now you know that Gene and Ryan have built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals. But those deals are getting better this summer. That's because right now Walker has employee pricing going on all month long. Yeah, that's right. You pay what we pay. Check this out. New 2025 Ram Crew Caps with up to $12,500 off MSRP. You'll also find new Ram 2500 Crew Cabs priced with up to $10,000 off MSRP. And if an SUV for a family vacation is what you're after this summer, look no further than the Jeep Grand Cherokee. That's the one with third row seating, and you'll find it right now Walker priced with up to $8,000 off MSRP. Don't wait, because these deals and this inventory aren't going to last long. Take that short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
Welcome back to the show. 7 minutes away from 10 o'clock. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Generations Physical Therapy. 9 practices, all offering extended hours. So access to physical therapy has never been easier. For an appointment, 304-760-5660 or visit generationspt.com. Text says, so the Republicans have a 23-year-old running their party. Seems awfully young for a position that would seemingly need a lot of life experience to manage properly. We'll see how it goes. Republicans feel safe, though, because Republicans would rather be Russian than to vote Democrat, says Texter. Let me see. Text says, it seems like the only people talking about the GOP primary are West Virginia media personalities. I don't hear much about it on the street. Well, you just heard a member of the legislature, Dana Ferrell, a Republican out of the 60th, who expressed concern. Yesterday, you heard from Delegate Andy Shamlin, who expressed concerns. So it's not just talking heads that are doing the talking. Text says, I bet the cross lanes road construction starts when school starts. It's going to be a great time, says a texter. Text says, Dave, as you all know, President Obama, executive order, just declared carbon dioxide as a pollutant. It drastically changed the environmental footprint, says a texter. And because, you know, I like to cover the big important stories on the show, I do want to address an email that I got. And by the way, anytime you ever want to reach out to me, feel free to do so. I'm on Facebook, Dave Allen Radio, or at DaveA70 on X, or you can drop me an email, dave.allen@wvradio.com, dave.allen@wvradio.com. A listener, James, reached out to me about something I said on the air last week concerning the death of Hulk Hogan. And I told you only the important topics here. First of all, let me say I'm always happy when listeners reach out, whether they agree with me or not. A listener named James was taking issue with me saying that Hogan was an entertainer and not a wrestler. But as James pointed out correctly, pro wrestling has always been about entertainment, which is true. My point on the death of Hulk Hogan was he was not a pro wrestler. He called himself, by his own admission, a sports entertainer. In fact, the former owner of the WWF, later the WWE, Vince McMahon made it very clear that his company did not do, in his terms, wrestling. His derogatory term for traditional pro wrestling and pro wrestling fans, which he despised. Hulk Hogan testified in court in that famed steroid trial that he did sports entertainment and not wrestling. And apparently did it very well. So I ain't hating on him for that. But I'm an old school wrestling fan that spent 30 years in the wrestling business, not the sports entertainment business. There is a big, big, big difference. And that's all I was saying about Hogan. James, I do very much appreciate you reaching out, but that's what basically I was saying. And I know millions and millions of fans loved and adored Hulk Hogan and his brand of sports entertainment. I was not one of them. I was involved in the business for 30 years. I left in 2017, I think it was. And quit watching the television product in the early 90s. So it just doesn't appeal to me. And that's okay, because it appeals to a lot of other people. I'm an old school traditionalist, and in my opinion, people like Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan, although I do respect the dearly departed, took a giant crap on the business in the early 1990s and actually the 80s, and basically destroyed what was the pro wrestling business. And now we don't have it anymore. We have it. It's on a much smaller level. Now it's sports entertainment, and people love it. It's, doing well, selling merchandise. That's what it's all about. Hulk Hogan was actually a very good wrestler when he wanted to be. If you go back on YouTube and look at some of his work in Japan, he actually was a very good wrestler. But when he came to the WWE, Vince McMahon said, we don't do wrestling here. We do sports entertainment. And that's when they created this giant buffoonish cartoon character that he was. So that's the difference. James, I do appreciate you reaching out, though. Text says, I will bet the person who wrote that moronic text about a 23-year-old adult being the head of the GOP has no problem with a 5-year-old child choosing their gender and choosing to mutilate their body, says the texter. TJ Meadows and I only mutilate our bodies through the use of cheeseburgers and French fries. How you doing, man?
Hungry? Now that you said that, how are you doing?
What's coming up on the big show today? So I saw that you do have Chris Hamilton on the show today.
We do. We'll talk about the EPA undoing that key climate change rule.
Let me jump in here. You're an energy guy. Okay.
I am.
All right. How big is this for the energy? Because you got Hamilton on. I'm going to have Rupi Phillips, the coal senator, on the show today. They're pretty excited. I haven't talked to Chris. I did talk to Rupi this morning. How big a deal is this, in your opinion?
I think it's extraordinary because it'll do a couple of things. Current plants that may have trouble meeting greenhouse gas rules. This rescission, saying that greenhouse gas is not harmful, is a context to roll back a lot of other rules that have come from the Biden administration, other administrations, like them or don't like them, in terms of how fossil fuel-fired generation, both coal and natural gas, are treated for existing plants in this country, plants to be built. This rule, would essentially say you don't have to have carbon sequestration on new plants that you're going to build if all of this goes through in the long term. So what does that mean? Well, price of energy is gangbusters because we need so much of it. We don't have enough of it. So at a time when we need more, if you're lifting rules that make it easier to keep existing plants in place and build newer plants, it's got to be good for the consumer, you would think.
All right, what else you got on the show today?
Whole bunch of stuff. Eric Tarr on the flat tax. We'll talk TBT with Brad Howell. Evan Hansen for the other side of this EPA ruling stops by. Jam-packed show.
All right, sounds good. Coming up on this show tomorrow again, the police chief of Dunbar, they're trying to rebuild their program there that has had a lot of problems, but John Garton, very qualified guy. If anybody can do it, it's John. He's going to join us to talk about that on the show tomorrow. I'll be back today with Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law, 13 News and Tonight Live, anchor Amanda Barrett and me with that coming up at noon. Ryan Nicholson, our producer, thank you so much. Have yourself a great Tuesday. I'll see you later today. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.